he sees that as a distraction from focusing on his agenda. So he has basically adopted a pretty laissez-faire attitude towards them, which, you know, is troubling to our government, obviously. I think it's a big problem for Mexico, but they've also gotten quite brazen. I mean, while I was there last summer, the CJ&G cartel, the Guadalajara cartel, actually ambushed the head of Mexico City's security ministry, I don't know, maybe about 10 blocks from the residence on Avenida Paseo de la Reforma, which is like one of the main drags of Mexico City, in a very exclusive residential neighborhood at about 6 in the morning. And, you know, they didn't kill him, fortunately. They killed, you know, some of his security detail and some passersby. But I mean, there had never been a brazen attack like that in the heart of Mexico City. And somewhat to my shock, the Mexican central government basically did nothing. They didn't say, you know, enough is enough. We can't put up with this. I mean, I think AMLO is very insistent on trying to avoid that kind of conflict. And as you also may remember, one of the, again, worst days during my tenure was when they caught the son of Chapo. It was the Mexican military that did this. That they don't really have much of a great police force in Mexico, so a lot of actions are done by the Mexican military, even, you know, domestic actions. But they kind of sent a military SWAT team in, and this was up in Culiacan in Sinaloa, and they had captured him, and then almost, you know, within minutes, you know, his organization had surrounded the perimeter of the area and, you know, had taken hostages, and basically the Mexican government backed down and let him go because they didn't want to have more widespread bloodshed in Culiacan. It was just a terrible moment. But, you know, the truth is the Mexican military was outgunned. And one of my concerns as ambassador was to try to address the flow of illegal weapons from our country into Mexico, which allows the cartels to be armed to the teeth. I mean, we're not talking about little pistols. We're talking about military style, you know, 50 caliber, you know, weapons, the kind you see in Somalia on the back of the technicals. And so, you know, certainly, you know, I respect as a lawyer our Second Amendment rights in this country, but the right, whatever the right to bear arms means in the United States, there is certainly no Second Amendment right to export arms to another country in violation of our own export control laws. And, you know, I tried to really beef up cooperation in that area. But, you know, look, again, I think the cartels are a real menace for both countries. But the problem is that we can't do it on our own in somebody else's sovereign country. And, you know, the Mexicans are very nationalistic. They're not going to let the Americans in to take care of the cartels. Believe me, President Trump literally offered that point blank to President López Obrador. Says, listen, I'll send our people down whenever you give me the green light, and we will take out the, you know, the cartels. I'm not sure it's that easy because, again, I think if you cut the head off the snake has 5 heads all of a sudden. But, you know, I do think that there is more that we have to do in both countries, you know, to try to weaken these organizations, particularly on the money front. I mean, people have been talking about this for 30 years. I mean, those of you who were ambassadors 30 years ago probably remember that people were talking about it then. I mean, it's frustrating to me. There were many times when I would attend meetings on these issues of, you know, counter narcotics and you know, money laundering and all this. And I would say, well, you know, can I have the notes of the last meeting on this? And I get notes back to, you know, 15 years. And it's the same issues. They haven't changed.